Hello and welcome to BoardgameNinja. You are aboard a steamship that is plowing its way through the ocean towards Boston. Rumors are flying around about passengers behaving strangely and large dark shapes following the ship, and you yourself have been haunted by strange dreams at night. And then all hell breaks loose when the first passenger is killed and creatures climb aboard. Unfathomable was released in 2021 and challenges the players to fight the monsters and steer the ship to port, to safety. But not all is what it seems, because among the players there are hidden traitors who want to send the ship to an early watery grave. Now that's all lovely and dreadful, but now we have From the Abyss, the first expansion. So let's take a look at this new expansion. In this video we will explain the new modules in the expansion and tell you if we think it is worth to add this to your game. We made an explainer about the base game earlier, so check that out by following the link in the description. The expansion contains several modules that can be added to the game. It is possible to add them all at once, and we don't really see any reason not to add all of them because they only add to the variation and, to our minds, to the fun. First, 8 new characters are added to the game. Each starts with their own item and offers new possibilities and feats to the game. From the Abyss comes with a new mechanic for the characters. There is a specific mythos card for each character, recognizable by this line. Take them out and set these aside for all characters. Added to the mythos deck are the personal crisis cards. When one is drawn, the current player takes their specific mythos card and resolves it. That is, unless that player is in the brig. Then you discard this card and draw a new mythos card. Second, there are a lot of new cards to be added. Waypoint, spell, item and damage cards should be shuffled into their decks. You also add new skill cards that consist of 2 cards for each of the 6 types and a deck of boon cards. Boon cards always work in favor of the test they are played in, but you can only acquire them when a card specifically states that you can draw a boon card. The boon cards come with an overlay, so this deck has its own place on the board. The new cards for the other skills are a lot of fun. They consist of a 6 and a 0. The 6 obviously adds a lot of points to a test. The 0 cards each add an effect to the test that can shift the outcome significantly. But since it doesn't actually add points, you can safely play them during any test, and so it can obscure the ways of a traitor. Third, you add allies to the game. Whenever you rescue a passenger, an ally appears. Draw one from the deck and add it face up to your space. Each ally aids the humans. Before or after you could perform an action, you can use an ally in your space. In order to trigger the effect, discard skill cards with a total value equal to or greater than the value in the top left corner. Only humans can use allies. After an ally is used, it wanders. Roll the die and place the ally on the corresponding space inside the ship or on the deck. An ally always has to move, so you can't leave it in the same space. A human can use only one ally each turn unless an ability lets you use multiple. Using an ally costs no action, so that is very nice. Allies flee back to the draw pile when they find themselves without human in a space with a revealed traitor or a monster, or when their space gets damaged. When an ally is defeated, they are removed from the game completely. This happens, for example, when the cast space is reached at the end of the ritual track. Rescuing passengers has changed a little. When you rescue passengers on a deck space, you rescue all passengers in that space. Passengers can also fall overboard. A player on an adjacent deck space can rescue one passenger in the water. Passengers can end up in the water because of the 4th addition to the game, Horrors. These consist of 3 new monsters, a Shoggoth, a drowned spirit and a grasping tendril. Each monster behaves differently. Whenever you encounter their icon, the monster activates. If it is not on the board, it spawns. Roll a die and check the reference card where it spawns. Once on the board, they wreak havoc, dragging passengers into the sea and damaging the interior of the ship. Defeating horrors is problematic because you can only repel them with an attack. Their target number is 6, and when you attack successfully, you can only move them to an adjacent space. By discarding 4 points of skill cards, you can move them an extra space. Horrors in an outdoor space can be defeated by reaching the cast space on the ritual track. And horrors on the backspace in the water are defeated when the ship advances on the travel track, just like the other monsters. You can also encounter the horror icon. If there's a horror on the board, it activates. If not, the horror track advances 1 space. At setup, you have to create a horror deck on the top left corner of the board. Whenever the track reaches the spawn space, draw the card and usually a horror is spawned on the board. 5th, when creating the Chaos deck, 2 Boon cards and 2 Treachery cards are also shuffled into the Chaos deck. New is that several abilities, items and mythos cards will require humans to draw from the Treachery deck. Although humans don't want to use Treachery cards during skill tests, they can be used for other effects, like repelling horrors or using allies. And it becomes less obvious who tainted the test. 6th, the last addition is a possible variation of the setup and the starting state of the board. Divide the Preludes in day, twilight and night cards. Shuffle them and draw 1 of each in order to be read aloud and resolved. This addition is a great way to adjust the balance of the game without changing the rules. The day cards favor the humans, the twilight cards favor no one in particular, and the night cards favor the hybrids. So if the humans struggle every time, you can swap a night card for a twilight card or add an extra day card to the setup. We enjoyed Unfathomable ever since it came out, and it hasn't lost any of its power since, nor has it been eclipsed by newer games. Our explainer of the base game is a consistently popular video, and with reason. It is a pretty solid hidden trader game with lots of excitement and great artwork. The From the Abyss expansion adds some variety to an already strong game. And that is nice. It tweaks some of the flaws by distributing more different skill cards to all the players. By doing so, it is harder to pinpoint the traitor when cards of a certain color pop up in the skill tests. The new monsters are very thematic and tie in nicely with certain mythos cards. But because the mythos deck also gets diluted by them, they don't pop up as often as expected. All in all, the designers managed to keep the threat level, which is still insane against a skilled traitor, the same. The biggest impact on the rules are the allies. It is really nice to use an extra ability or action in your turn. The downside is that it will cost skill cards to do so. If you don't manage your cards carefully, you will run out before the tests really start to count. Overall, you don't really need From the Abyss to make Unfathomable better, but it is certainly nice to have some more variation and new possibilities. From our experience, the expansion does not add to the playtime substantially, nor does it make the game more complex. So we decided to keep the additions in our games. We hope you liked this review. Subscribing to our channel helps a lot, so do consider it. We explain a wide variety of games and expansions and will certainly keep you up to date on anything to do with Unfathomable. We hope to see you again for the next video. Bye!